Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are talking about why now is the time to take advantage of the plummeting market we are seeing in Austin, Texas. And to be honest with you guys, depending on what your situation is and what you're looking for, this is both good and bad news. And hopefully by the end of the video, we'll have helped you arrive at your own conclusion as to whether or not the time is right for you. Stay tuned. Hey again everybody, this is Frank with the Living in Austin group at eXp Realty. On this channel we put out new content about living in Austin, Texas, the good and yes, the bad, so consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that little bell to get notified anytime we put out a new video. We also love the reach outs we get now all the time from people just like you in need of our help when relocating to the greater Austin area, so keep them coming. Do not hesitate. Whether you're 9 days away or 90, reach out to our team. Whether you shoot us a text, send us an email, give us a call any day of the week, any time of day. So yes, in this video, we are talking about why now is the time to take advantage of the plummeting market we are seeing in Austin, Texas. And as mentioned, why is this both good and bad news? On one hand, it's good news because many people have been waiting for a window to open to have more power as buyers. And that window is not just open, it's wide open and it's been open. And later in this video, we will be talking more in detail about why. But on the other hand, it's bad news because it's very temporary. With Austin's resilience as a city, with all of the big tech companies still flocking here, with the amazing school districts we have, with the demand that we have, with it being such a hot spot for relocation, the market is going to balance itself back out. And most likely after 2023, it will resemble the market that we got more used to in the past couple of years here in Austin. Now, where it gets interesting is that this temporary nature of it being a buyer's market in Austin, Texas, being looked at as bad news because it's temporary, can also be looked at as good news because if you are looking at appreciation, as mentioned, Austin, Texas is resilient. So as a home buyer, you wouldn't want it to stay this way, which to my point is ultimately why it's a little bit of a mixed bag of is this good or is this not good? But at the end of the day, why it is the perfect time to take advantage of what we're seeing in Austin, Texas. Now, to further illustrate my point, let's talk about the Goldman Sachs forecast that recently came out, essentially predicting just how low these price drops are going to go. According to Goldman Sachs, Austin is one of 4 cities, the other 3 being Phoenix, San Jose, and San Diego, one of 4 cities expected to reach 25% drops in their home prices. Now, does this mean recession? Absolutely not, because back in 2008, it was a nationwide average of a drop of 27%. In this case, we are looking at Austin, Phoenix, San Jose, and San Diego specifically, where a lot of the rest of the country is going to drop like 1%, 3%. So how does Austin get to 25%? Well, if we're looking at the peak of 2022 up through now of the making of this video, it's already down about 10.5%, and many would argue even more. I mean, we just went under contract on a home for $470,000 and the original listing price was in the 600s. So in some cases, it could already look like closer to 20%. But if we stick to that 10.5% number, in addition to that, in 2023, Austin, Texas is expected to drop another 15%. And that's how we arrive at the number of 25%. And while that does in some ways sound pretty damning for Austin, Texas in the long run, as mentioned, the future of Austin, Texas, with its demand and its resilience and the tech companies flocking here and people still coming here, it is, instead of being a doomsday scenario, rather self-correcting the insane bloated and inflated numbers that we got in 2022 when it was such an extreme seller's market. Which naturally leads me to talk about the contrast of the two markets if we're comparing what it looked like in the peak of 2022 to now what it's looking like in 2023. So back in 2022, it was essentially hopeless. If you were a buyer, you essentially had to beg to get your offer accepted because the sellers had all the power. So basically, especially if you're coming from out of state, it was pretty difficult because before you even had time to check out the house to see if it was really what you wanted, if it was your perfect dream home, it already had 10 to 20 offers, many of them cash, many of them 20, 50, 100, $150,000 over asking price, and then those whose offers would even get noticed by the sellers would be waiving their rights to an appraisal, they'd be waiving their rights to an inspection. It was absolutely ridiculous with the bidding wars, and people would have to write personalized letters to the selling agents and the sellers themselves. They had no time, they had no power, and if you're looking at the market right now, I mean, it is not just different, it is not just more balanced, it is flipped with so much power now in the hands of the buyers where sellers are negotiating. Homes are sitting on the market for such extended periods of time now, which then opens the door for even further negotiations. Throw incentives for buyers on top of that, in addition to the price drops that we've seen from the peak of 22 to now and what has been forecasted for the rest of 2023. And all of a sudden you have this insane buyer's market, which is likely temporary because realistically this isn't going to last much longer than 2023, which means it is the perfect time to take advantage of what we're seeing happening in the city of Austin. Now, to illustrate the scenario even further, let's talk about new build construction. In the peak of the market in 2022, home builders had it made in the shade. They were sitting pretty, life was good, and that is because, as mentioned, the demand here was so insane. It was such an extreme seller's market. They were spitting at homes that would sell in seconds, and because of that, they had the audacity and a little bit of arrogance to just keep on raising the prices, knowing that people would buy them regardless. But then, just like that, the market began to shift. They had all of these homes built. Many buyers were pulling out of their contracts on top of that. So yes, now all of a sudden, they're stuck with all this inventory that they're needing to liquidate, because in case you didn't know, these builders now have to pay property taxes on the homes that they've been building. And so in the state of Texas, that's certainly a not so great thing, because here we have property tax rates that can easily range between 2.5%, 2.75%, 3%, sometimes even above 3%. And so if you have, say, 15, 20 homes that you're trying to get rid of, all of a sudden that arrogance and that audacity they had once upon a time now becomes desperation. And of course, desperation looks like negotiations on down payments, incentives, buying down the interest rates by 1 to 2%, all kinds of huge deals to get this inventory off of their hands so they could stop paying property taxes on all the homes that they weren't able to sell. So there you have it. And in conclusion, depending on your perspective and what your situation is, as mentioned, this could be good news or bad news. Bad news because yes, this is likely temporary. It is unlikely that we will see this last for very long because Austin, Texas is still Austin, Texas. It will most likely persevere. Bad news as well because even though yes, it is temporary, as a home buyer, you want Austin's market to be strong and on the rise. And on the other hand, as mentioned, it's good news as well because so many people have been waiting for a window to open to get their foot in the door so that they can move to Austin, Texas and not have to worry about waiving their rights to an inspection, waiving their rights to an appraisal, going into bidding wars, going well over asking. There were so many people in the year of 2022 who either wanted or needed to move to Austin, Texas, but just didn't really have a chance with how the market was. And they've been waiting for the right time. And here it is. Depending, of course, on your situation, but with the aforementioned price drops, with the aforementioned incentives and certain desperation from home builders, or how eager private sellers are just to get it off the market so they don't have to keep dropping the price. Yes, with a certain perspective, depending on who you are, this could absolutely be great news. So while I've explained the reasons why it very well just might not be the right time for you, if it is, again, that is what we are here for, helping people just like you relocate to the greater Austin area, finding that perfect spot and making that move as smooth as possible. But again, the only way we can do that is by you reaching out to us. So do not hesitate, whether you're 9 days away or 90, reach out to our team. Whether you shoot us a text, send us an email, give us a call any day of the week, any time of day. We've got your back when moving to Austin, Texas. And again, on this channel, we put out new content about living in Austin, Texas, whether it be good, whether it be bad. So consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already and ringing that little bell to get notified anytime we put out a new video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Click the like button if we've been providing any value for you. Share it with anybody you know. And until the next one, you guys, my name is Frank. This is Living in Austin, Texas, and we will absolutely catch you later.